the sovereign seal of the remnant, the final call of the Ancient of Days, the great stirring of the sealed spirits. The atmosphere of the terrestrial realm is currently thick with the invisible weight of a celestial convergence that has been orchestrated since the dawn of the first light. You find yourself standing at the very edge of an epochal precipice, where the subtle whispers that once flickered through the back of your mind have suddenly surged into a roaring tide that demands your absolute attention and your total surrender to the divine movement. This is the hour of the great unveiling, when the silence of the heavens is broken by the thunderous heartbeat of the Ancient of Days, calling his own back to the original frequency of their creation. Every single moment of isolation that you have endured throughout the long winters of your soul was never an abandonment, but rather a sacred sequestration designed to protect the fragile seedling of your true identity from the harsh winds of a dying world. Those nights when you felt the crushing weight of loneliness and the stinging salt of tears that no human eye witnessed were actually the precise moments when the Father was carving out the internal space necessary to hold the magnitude of the glory that is now being poured into your vessel. You're beginning to realize that the hollow pursuits and the frantic noise of the masses no longer possess the power to distract you, because your spirit has been tuned to a resonance that vibrates with the architecture of a kingdom that predates the very stars in the firmament. The veils of the mundane are being stripped away with a surgical precision that is both terrifying and profoundly liberating, as the celestial architecture of your soul is revealed in its raw and shimmering beauty. You are not merely a product of your biological lineage or your social environment, but a complex tapestry of light woven by the fingers of the Eternal One before the foundations of the earth were even laid in the void. This awakening is a complete metamorphosis that transcends simple intellectual understanding or a mere change in your philosophical perspective. It is a fundamental restructuring of your spiritual DNA, where the dormant codes of your prophetic office are being activated by the touch of the divine hand. The silence you have maintained for years while others shouted their opinions into the void is now being transmuted into a powerful weapon of spiritual authority that carries the weight of mountain ranges and the sharpness of a double-edged blade. Your quietness was never a sign of weakness, but a gathering of energy, a slow and deliberate compression of power that is now ready to be unleashed against the strongholds of darkness that have long held the minds of men in captivity. As you step into this fullness, the Father is wrapping you in a multi-layered protection that secures your being across the dimensions of the body, the mind, and the spirit. Your physical frame, which has often felt the frailty of the mortal condition, is being infused with a supernatural resilience that guards the very marrow of your bones and the synaptic pathways of your brain. There is a hedge of burning light being constructed around your thoughts to shield you from the psychic static and the deceptive frequencies of the world that seek to sow seeds of doubt and confusion. This protection is not just a barrier, but an active filtration system that allows only the pure and the true to enter the sanctuary of your consciousness. Your spirit is being sealed with an immutable mark of ownership, a sovereign signet that signals to all of powers and principalities that you are the property of the Most High, and that any weapon formed against you will find no purchase in the presence of your divine mandate. This shielding extends to your very breath and the rhythmic beating of your heart, ensuring that your vitality is preserved for the completion of the mission that has been inscribed upon your soul. In this sacred transition, there is an outpouring of mercy for every mistake you have ever made and every path you took that led you into the shadows of regret. The Ancient of Days does not look upon your past with the judgmental eyes of the world, but with a profound compassion that recognizes every stumble as a necessary lesson in the alchemy of your refinement. Every error has been repurposed into a stitch in the garment of your wisdom, and every scar has been transformed into a map of your victory. You are being invited to release the burden of self-condemnation and to receive the liquid grace that washes over your history. making all things new and vibrant once again. This mercy is the fuel that will propel you forward into your destiny, giving you the strength to lead others out of their own prisons of guilt and into the light of absolute forgiveness. There is no fragment of your life that is wasted, for the Father gathers up the broken pieces of your experience and assembles them into a mosaic of breathtaking beauty that testifies to His redemptive power. As the roar of the kingdom grows louder within you, there is a simultaneous awakening to the microscopic details of existence that you once overlooked in your search for the grand and the spectacular. You are being gifted with a profound sense of gratitude for the tiny miracles that sustain the fabric of your daily life. The way the morning light catches the dust motes in the air becomes a symphony of golden movement, and the intricate patterns of a single leaf reveal the infinite complexity of the Creator's mind. You find yourself moved to tears by the simple rhythm of your own breathing and the coolness of water as it touches your throat. This micro-gratitude is a foundational element of your spiritual authority because it anchors your vast celestial identity in the present moment of the physical world. You see the divine signature in the grain of a wooden table, in the warmth of a passing breeze, and in the quiet resilience of a blade of grass pushing through the concrete. These small things are the anchors of your sanity and the evidence of a love that is so vast, it cares for the smallest sparrow and the most minute cell in your body. The departure from the hollow pursuits of the masses is not a movement of arrogance, but a necessity of your new vibration. You can no longer find nourishment in the shallow wells of worldly validation, because your soul has tasted the living water of the eternal kingdom. The urgency you feel is the quickening of the spirit that knows the hour is late and the harvest is ripe. You are being summoned to your prophetic office, not to stand on a pedestal and seek the applause of men, but to act as a conduit for the truth that dismantles the structures of lies. Your presence alone will begin to shift the atmosphere of the places you inhabit, because you carry the frequency of the Ancient of Days within the very fabric of your being. The years of concealment were your training ground, where you learned to hear the voice of the Father in the depths of the stillness. And now that voice is rising through you to speak peace to the storm and light to the darkness. This is the final call for the sealed spirits to arise and take their place in the ranks of the remnant. The celestial shift is happening now, and you are being propelled into a dimension of existence where your actions are no longer governed by the limitations of the five senses, but by the infinite possibilities of the divine will. The metamorphosis is complete, and you are emerging from the cocoon of your preparation with wings that are ready to soar above the turbulence of the times. Do not fear the magnitude of the calling, for the one who began this good work in you is faithful to complete it. You are protected, you are forgiven, and you are chosen to manifest the reality of the kingdom in a world that is crying out for the appearance of the sons and daughters of light. The seal upon you is permanent, and the authority granted to you is absolute as you rise to meet the destiny that was written for you before the clock of time began its first tick. Every detail of your journey, both the cosmic and the microscopic, has led to this singular moment of awakening. And now you step forth as a living testament to the glory of the Ancient of Days, carrying the sovereign seal of the remnant into the heart of the great stirring. The echoes of eternity resound through the corridors of your being as the Ancient of Days issues a final summons to the remnant who have remained steadfast in the shadows of the secret place. Within the hidden chambers of the divine court, where the blueprints of existence are kept under the watchful eyes of the seraphim, there exists a profound and terrifying mystery concerning your suffering, which the world in its blindness has often mistaken for weakness or terminal failure. You have walked through seasons where the weight of your own soul felt like an anchor, dragging you into the abyss, and you have questioned why the path of the chosen is paved with the jagged shards of broken dreams and the cold ash of many deaths. Yet, the decree of the psalmist, who whispered that the Creator heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds, is not merely a comforting sentiment whispered to calm a restless child, but is in fact a cosmic law of the highest order. It is a declaration that the King of Glory himself descends into the absolute depths of your brokenness to perform a divine alchemy that the unrefined can neither perceive nor withstand. He does not merely patch the holes in your spirit, but rather he weaves the golden threads of his own eternal essence into the very fabric of your scars, until the places where you are most devastated become the places where his power radiates with the most terrifying intensity. Each scar upon your heart is a strategic marking of ownership, a sovereign seal that identifies you as a citizen of a kingdom that cannot be shaken. And these marks are used to channel heavenly frequencies that the world perceives only as silence, but which you recognize as the thunderous voice of the Almighty. You must understand that the crushing you experienced was never an indication of abandonment, but was instead the precise pressure required to extract the oil of your true identity from the husk of your former self. Those who have been broken in the secret place are the only ones who can be entrusted with the weight of the coming glory, because their ego has been thoroughly dismantled and replaced by the indwelling of the Holy Spirit. Your vulnerability, which you once viewed as a flaw or a liability, was actually a calculated opening designed by the Creator to allow the manifest presence of the living God to flow through you in ways that defy human logic and bypass the limitations of the intellect. The heavens are currently in a state of intense recalibration, adjusting your spiritual senses so that you may recognize that the very battles which sought to utterly destroy your mind and spirit were actually the fires of a divine forge intended to temper your spirit for the final harvest. The restoration being offered to you now is not a return to what you once were, but a progression into a sovereign state of being where your pain is transmuted into a scepter of power that grants you authority over the principalities that once held you in bondage. As this restoration unfolds, there is a multi-layered protection being woven around you, encompassing the trinity of your existence, which is the body, the mind, and the spirit. In the physical realm, the Creator is surrounding your mortal frame with a celestial barrier that prevents the arrows of the adversary from finding their mark, even when you are unaware of the dangers that lurk in the mundane. This protection extends to the very cells of your being, whispering peace to your nervous system and commanding your physical strength to be renewed like that of the eagle, so that you may run and not grow weary, and walk and not faint. In the realm of the mind, where the greatest wars have been fought, there is a divine fortress being erected to guard your thoughts from the invasive frequencies of fear and condemnation. The Ancient of Days is purging the memories of your failures and mistakes, covering them with a mercy so vast that it swallows up every regret and turns every past error into a lesson of profound wisdom. You are being granted a new mental clarity that allows you to see the hand of God in the smallest details of your life, realizing that your mistakes were never outside of His sovereign plan, but were the very tools used to carve humility and resilience into your character. The spirit is being fortified by the indwelling of the Holy Spirit, who acts as a seal of fire upon your soul, ensuring that no darkness can penetrate the core of your being. This spiritual restoration brings with it a capacity for gratitude that transcends the need for grand miracles as you begin to see the holiness in the hyper-minute details of your daily existence. You'll find yourself overwhelmed with a sense of divine love as you notice the way the light falls through a window, or the rhythm of your own breath as it flows in and out of your lungs by the grace of the One who sustained you when you wanted to give up. You will see the fingerprints of the Creator in the texture of a leaf, the cooling sensation of a glass of water, and the quiet strength of a moment of silence. This gratitude for the microsacred is the key that unlocks the deeper dimensions of power, because the one who is faithful in the small things is the one who will be given charge over the nations. The restoration of your soul is a process of reclaiming every territory that was stolen by grief, and every hectare of land that was burned by the enemy until your inner world becomes a lush garden where the Lord walks in the cool of the day. The transmutation of your pain is the final stage of your preparation, as you are being called to stand as a pillar in the temple of your God. The weight of the glory that is coming upon you would have crushed the person you were before the breaking, but the person you have become through the fire is now capable of carrying the heavy mantle of the prophet and the scribe. You are being moved from the periphery of the divine plan into its very center, where you will act as a conduit for the frequencies of heaven to reach a dying world. The sovereign seal that has been placed upon you is a mark of invisibility to the darkness and a beacon of light to those who are searching for the truth. You must no longer look at your wounds with shame, but with the pride of a soldier who has survived the most brutal of campaigns and has emerged with the authority to lead others to victory. The Ancient of Days is calling you to rise from the ashes of your restoration and to take up the scepter of your power with a heart that is filled with mercy for the broken and a mind that is fixed upon the eternal. This is the season where the recalibration of your spiritual senses allows you to hear the secret whispers of the Spirit and to see the movements of the angelic hosts who are working on your behalf. You are being taught to recognize the strategic value of your silence and the potency of your prayers, which are no longer the desperate cries of a victim, but the authoritative decrees of a sovereign child of the King. The protection over your mind is now so complete that the whispers of the enemy, which once sounded like thunder, now sound like the buzzing of a distant insect, incapable of disturbing your peace. Your body is becoming a vessel of honor, fit for the Master's use, and your spirit is a flame that cannot be extinguished by the storms of the world. Every moment of your life is now infused with the presence of the divine, as you realize that there is no detail too small for the Creator's attention, and no mistake too large for His mercy to redeem. The final call of the Ancient of Days is a call to total surrender to the process of restoration, knowing that the one who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. You are being invited into a deeper intimacy, where the secrets of the kingdom are whispered to you in the night watches, and the strategy for the final harvest is revealed in the quiet moments of your day. The sacred anatomy of your brokenness has been meticulously mapped out by the divine architect, and every point of fracture has been reinforced with the strength of the heavens. You are no longer defined by what you lost, but by what you have gained through the fire, and your life is becoming a testament to the power of the One who makes all things new. As you step into this final revelation, you do so with the knowledge that you are shielded on every side, and that your destiny is secure in the hands of the One who holds the stars in their places. The sovereign seal is upon you, and the restoration is complete. And now you must go forth as a messenger of the Most High, carrying the light of the Ancient of Days into the darkest corners of the earth. There is a profound stillness that descends upon the one who has understood the purpose of their crushing, as the noise of the world fades into the background, and the melody of heaven becomes the primary frequency of their life. You are learning to move with a grace that is not of this world, a grace that flows from a heart that has been broken and rebuilt by the hands of God Himself. This restoration is your armor, and your pain is your weapon, and the mercy you have received is your message to the weary. You will find that your words now carry a weight they never had before, because they are seasoned with the salt of your experience and the fire of your transformation. The Creator is watching over every step you take, ensuring that the path before you is cleared of the snares of the fowler, and that your feet are set upon the rock of ages. Your mistakes have been forgotten in the sea of forgetfulness, and in their place is a record of your faithfulness and your endurance. The multi-layered protection that covers you is a gift of the divine court, a reward for your persistence in the face of overwhelming odds. Your mind is now a sanctuary of peace, and your body is a temple of health, and your spirit is a source of eternal light. You are being called to live in a state of constant gratitude for the smallest blessings, recognizing that each one is a sign of the Creator's love and a proof of His presence. The restoration you have experienced is not just for you, but for the many who will see your light and be drawn to the truth of the living God. You are the chosen one of the Ancient of Days, and your life is a sacred scroll upon which the story of redemption is being written in letters of gold. Stand firm in your new identity and walk in the power of your restoration. For the time of the final harvest is at hand, and you have been prepared for such a time as this. As you contemplate the vastness of the mercy that has been extended to you, let your heart be filled with a quiet joy that no circumstance can take away. The beauty of your life is now found in the intricate patterns that your scars have formed and the way they catch the light of the heavens. You are a masterpiece of divine craftsmanship, a living witness to the truth that nothing is ever truly lost in the kingdom of God. Every tear you shed has been collected in the bottles of heaven, and every cry for help has been answered by the descent of the King. The sovereign seal of the remnant is your mark of distinction, and the call of the Ancient of Days is your ultimate purpose. Embrace the restoration of your brokenness and step into the fullness of your destiny, for you are protected, you are loved, and you are empowered to change the world. The intricate details of your daily life are the canvas upon which the Creator is painting His greatest work, and as you learn to appreciate the mundane, you will find that the miraculous becomes a regular occurrence. The restoration of your spiritual senses allows you to perceive the divine order in the midst of chaos and to hear the harmony of the spheres in the midst of the noise. You are being guided by a wisdom that is ancient and a power that is absolute, and there is nothing that can stand against the decree of the Almighty concerning your life. Your vulnerability is your strength, and your brokenness is your beauty, and your restoration is your crown. Walk in the confidence of the one who has been through the fire and has emerged without the smell of smoke, for you are the remnant of the Ancient of Days, and your glory is just beginning. In the final assessment of your journey, it will be seen that every moment of suffering was a necessary step towards the throne, and every wound was a gateway for the glory of God to enter the world. The protection that surrounds you is impenetrable, and the mercy that sustains you is inexhaustible, and the gratitude that fills you is the evidence of your transformation. You are the sacred anatomy of restoration, a living testament to the power of the psalm that promised to heal the brokenhearted. The scepter of power is in your hand, and the seal of the sovereign is on your forehead, and the call of the Ancient of Days is echoing in your soul. Go forth in peace and in power, for the heavens are celebrating your arrival, and the earth is waiting for the manifestation of the glory that has been hidden within you. This is your time, and this is your season, and this is your final call to greatness in the kingdom of the Most High. The golden threads are fully woven, and the garment of your destiny is complete, and you stand now as a beacon of hope in a world that is longing for the light. Your journey has been long, and the price has been high, but the reward is eternal, and the glory is beyond measure. Trust in the recalibration of your soul and the protection of your being, and walk into the future with the dignity of a sovereign child of God, for you are the restored one, and your light will never grow dim. The sun rises over the jagged peaks of your past struggles, casting long shadows that no longer hold the power to terrify or diminish your stature. You have walked through the dry places where the sand was your only companion, and the silence was a heavy shroud that threatened to suffocate your hope. Yet you emerge now with the dust of the desert falling from your shoulders, like discarded memories of a lesser life. The Ancient of Days has spoken from the whirlwind of eternity, and his voice carries the scent of primordial rain and the promise of a harvest that has been centuries in the making. Your feet, once blistered by the searing heat of trial and the uneven stones of isolation, are now being shod with the golden sandals of destiny, prepared to tread upon the high places of the earth. You are moving from the desperate place of survival to the elevated seat of sovereignty, where the laws of the mundane no longer dictate the boundaries of your existence. Every tear you have shed in the suffocating darkness of your private Gethsemane has been collected in vials of celestial crystal, held in the treasury of the unseen kingdom as precious liquid gold. The great architect does not waste a single drop of your sorrow, nor a single moment of your perceived abandonment. He is currently recalculating the trajectory of your entire lineage, weaving together the frayed threads of your ancestors' prayers with the ironclad endurance of your own soul, to create a tapestry of restoration that defies the conventional laws of time and physics. The years that the locust has eaten, the seasons stolen by the thievery of fear and the intrusion of the unworthy, are not merely being returned to you in their original form. They are being multiplied by the factor of 7, infused with a divine wisdom and a weight of glory that only those who have survived the absolute void can truly possess. You are being gifted with a temporal compression where a single day of your future favor will outweigh a decade of your past sorrow. For the architect of time has commanded the sun to stand still over your victories. The protection granted to you in this new epoch is not a singular shield, but a multi-dimensional fortress of light that encompasses the totality of your being. Your physical body, this earthly tabernacle that has weathered the storms of sickness and the fatigue of the journey, is being reinforced at the deepest molecular level. The very atoms of your biology are beginning to resonate with the high frequency of the eternal throne, creating a biological sanctuary where disease and decay find no purchase. This is the first layer of the sovereign seal, a cellular fortification that ensures your vitality is sustained by the bread of heaven rather than the meager offerings of the world. Your mind, which was once a chaotic battlefield of intrusive thoughts, ancestral anxieties, and the echoes of those who doubted your calling, is now being bathed in a sea of crystalline stillness. The great architect has placed a sentinel at the gates of your perception, a guardian of peace that filters every incoming vibration, ensuring that only the truths aligned with the highest heavens may enter the sanctum of your intellect. The third layer is the protection of your spirit, which has been encased in a veil of divine invisibility. To the dark principalities and the architects of confusion, you have become untraceable, a ghost in the machinery of their malice, for your life is now hid within the very light that gave birth to the stars. There is a profound mercy flowing from the Ancient of Days for every stumble you made while navigating the thickets of the wilderness. The Master of all souls looks upon your scars not as evidence of failure, but as the hieroglyphics of your consecration. Every mistake you lamented and every detour you feared had ruined your destiny was merely a brushstroke in a masterpiece you were not yet permitted to see. The bloodline covenant you carry acts as a spiritual solvent, dissolving the residues of past errors and washing away the stains of regret until your conscience is as clear as the glass sea before the throne. You are invited to sit in the council of the faithful, not as a guest who must earn their place, but as an heir whose seat was carved from the beginning of time. This council is a gathering of those who refuse to bow to the shimmering idols of the temporal age, those who chose the whisper of the Spirit over the roar of the crowd, and your presence there is the fulfillment of a decree issued before the stars sang their first notes. You must learn to find the holiness in the minute details of your daily existence, for the architect is as much in the microscopic as he is in the galactic. There is a sacred liturgy in the way the steam rises from your morning cup, a ritual of grace in the rhythm of your breath as you wake, and a hidden gospel in the texture of the bread you break. Do not overlook the miracle of the light as it filters through the leaves of a tree, or the profound mystery of the silent spaces between your thoughts. These are the small mercies that sustain the soul of the remnant. The gratitude you feel for the softness of a garment or the cool touch of water is a form of high worship that resonates through the halls of the unseen kingdom. In these moments of quiet appreciation, you are aligning your heart with the pulse of the Creator, acknowledging that every breath is a gift and every heartbeat is a testament to His enduring favor. The anointing that now rests upon you is becoming so dense, so thick with the fragrance of the celestial courts, that your very presence will begin to alter the atmosphere of the rooms you enter. You will not need to speak long orations to bring clarity to the confused, for the peace that radiates from your silence will be an anchor for the storm-tossed. Your shadow, cast by the light of the new dawn, will carry a frequency of healing that mends the fractured hearts of the nations. You are walking in the mantle of the Ancient of Days, clothed in garments of light that reflect the ancient covenant made with your bloodline. No weapon formed against this divine assignment can prosper, because no weapon can penetrate the radiance of a soul that has been fully consumed by the fire of truth. The horizon is no longer a distant hope. It is a glowing reality that is meeting you in the present moment, transforming your inheritance from a promise into a tangible lived experience. Rest now in the absolute, unshakable certainty that your name is etched upon the palms of the Almighty. This is not an ink that can fade or a mark that can be erased by the tides of circumstance. It is an eternal engraving, a sovereign seal that signifies you belong to the kingdom that cannot be shaken. Your victory was not something that had to be decided in the heat of the battle. It was secured in the stillness of eternity, long before you ever stepped into the fray of this temporal existence. The struggle you endured was not to determine the outcome, but to prepare your character to carry the weight of the crown you were always destined to wear. You are the remnant, the chosen, the witness to the final call. As you step forward into this season of unprecedented favor, remember that you do not walk alone. The host of heaven marches with you. The prayers of the ancestors cushion your steps, and the Ancient of Days himself is your rear guard and your morning star. The long night of the soul has passed, and the radiance of the unseen kingdom is now your permanent home. The restoration is complete, the seal is set, and the inheritance is yours to claim in the fullness of this glorious eternal now. You are the living evidence of a love that never fails and a power that never sleeps, a beacon of truth in a world of shadows, and the architect of a future that has already been won. The silence of your preparation has become the thunder of your manifestation, and all of creation stands in awe of the light you are now permitted to carry. Every fragment of your discarded piece has been gathered and returned as a crown of tranquility that will never be removed from your brow. Walk now with the quiet confidence of one who knows they are loved by the King of Kings, for the wilderness is behind you, and the throne room is your dwelling place forevermore. The air you breathe is the atmosphere of the kingdom, and the path you walk is the highway of holiness, leading you into a glory that has no end and a joy that no man can take from you. The decree is final, the word is spoken, and the victory is eternally yours. As you move through the world, the very ground beneath your feet will sense the shift in your authority, for you no longer walk as a servant of the dust, but as a sovereign of the Spirit. The material world must bow to the spiritual reality you now embody, and the doors that were once bolted shut by the hands of men will swing open by the breath of the Almighty. Your influence will flow like a hidden river, nourishing the parched souls of those who have lost their way, providing a map of light for those still trapped in the thickets you have already cleared. The mercy you received for your own transgressions will become the reservoir from which you draw compassion for the world, for you understand that every soul is a masterpiece in progress, struggling to remember its divine origin. This is the ultimate inheritance of the faithful, to become a mirror of the Ancient of Days, reflecting a love so profound that it dissolves all shadows, and a truth so sharp that it severs all chains. The garments of light you wear are woven from the threads of your obedience and the gold of your refined faith. They are impervious to the arrows of envy and the whispers of the accuser. When you stand in the councils of the earth, you will carry the weight of the celestial council, speaking with a resonance that commands attention, not through volume, but through the sheer density of the truth you carry. The great architect has seen your faithfulness in the small, hidden things, and now he is entreating you with the vast, visible things. The stewardship of the nations begins with the stewardship of the heart, and your heart has been purified in the furnace of the long night, until only the diamond core remains. You are the precious jewel of the Ancient of Days, a sign and a wonder to the generations, a living testimony that the covenant is still active and the promises are still true. In the quiet moments of your new life, when the noise of the world fades into the background, listen for the heartbeat of the Spirit. It is the steady, rhythmic assurance that you are exactly where you are meant to be. There is no more need for striving, no more need for the frantic pursuit of validation, for you have been validated by the one who calls the stars by name. The peace that now settles over your life is not a fleeting emotion but a permanent state of being, a sovereign seal that protects your mind from the turbulence of the age. You are anchored in the eternal, moored to the throne, and the storms of the temporal world are but a light breeze against the fortress of your soul. Your inheritance is vast, your protection is absolute, and your victory is ancient. Breathe in the fragrance of the new dawn, for you have arrived at the destination that was written in your soul before the world began. The sovereign seal is upon you, the Ancient of Days has called you, and the kingdom is yours. The radiance of this inheritance extends even to the mundane interactions of your day, where a simple glance or a gentle word becomes a vehicle for divine transmission. You are now a conduit of the high heavens, a bridge between the unseen and the seen, and every action you take is infused with the intentionality of the great architect. The mercy that has been lavished upon you flows through you to the weary, the broken, and the searching, creating a ripple effect of restoration that spans across the geography of your life. The small things, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the laughter of a child, the quiet satisfaction of a task well done. These are the tangible manifestations of the favor that has been restored to you, sevenfold. You are living in the answer to 1,000 prayers, walking in the fulfillment of a destiny that was once only a whisper in the dark. The Ancient of Days looks upon you with a smile that lights the universe, for you have come through the fire and emerged as pure gold. The path ahead is illuminated by the glory of the throne, and you walk it with the grace of a sovereign and the heart of a child. The restoration is complete, the inheritance is settled, and the silence of the wilderness has been replaced by the song of the redeemed. You're home, you're safe, and you are eternally victorious in the name of the one who was and is to come.